Taking a vacation, Jen. Do you know where sheep like to go on vacation?
Somewhere with their kids.
The Bahamas.
Oh, isn't a kid a lamb?
Oh, yep.
Oh, I'm
No,
on the
yeah.
wrong animal.
Do you know where hamsters go on vacation? Hamsterdam.
Trying to think of wheels, somewhere wheels something. Oh man, March Genergy. Put in your booby rocks.
Live your best life. Keep doing you. So much energy.
Let's stick together with some high kicks. Bow, bow. Oh, good times. All right, Jeffy, welcome back from your vacation home to this episode of So Much Genergy. It's episode 211. All right, welcome back. I am Jenny McKinney, and I'm here with Jeff Jones.
Jen, thanks for having me.
Yeah, all right, welcome back. So, yeah, you had some travels. There were some situations. You were stuck in Salt Lake City on the plane for a while.
You know, we were. We were actually stuck in Detroit.
Oh, Detroit.
We just got on the plane, and then we sat on the runway for 3.5 hours. Not knowing, and they're just like, oh, people came out and they sprayed stuff all over the wings and broke ice off of the wings of the plane.
Yeah.
And then we sat there so long that it grew back again. So they came out and busted it off again. And then they pulled the plane back into the terminal. And we thought, okay, we're getting off. This was after like 2.5, 3 hours.
Yeah.
And they made an announcement, hey, we're pulling back in. We're not sure. Give us a few minutes, they said, but if you get off the plane, take all your stuff in case you don't make it back. So half the people on our plane were like, all right, we're hopping off for a second, da-da-da. As soon as half of the people got off the plane, well, they did say they were like, hey, we're just going to wait for them to finish refueling, and then we're going to be pulled back out. They're going to back us back out, and we're going to take a run at this. So they refueled, and within like 5 minutes, we pulled back out, and half the plane did not get on. It was awesome.
After they just waited 3 hours?
Yep. So they pushed us back out. They sprayed down the plane with some more de-icer stuff, which looked just like the orange Rain-X.
Oh,
it looked just like orange Rain-X, just spraying out of this stuff.
Yeah.
And they sprayed the crap out of the wings, and then we were off. By that point, I'd already missed my flight, and my layover flight was in Salt Lake.
Yeah.
I missed that by like hours. We were still just sitting on the runway in Detroit when I got my heads up. 1 hour till Salt Lake is leaving. 1 hour. And I'm like, we haven't even left Detroit yet.
And how long's the flight from Detroit to Salt Lake?
I think it was 4 hours.
Oh, okay. So you should have been there in the time that you had waited, almost.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we would have been there plenty of time.
Mm-hmm.
And then, we got to Salt Lake, and we had to wait 5 hours for the next flight out of Salt Lake to our destination.
Oh.
So, needless to say, we went out and back in through security, like TSA, like 4 times.
Shoot.
I'm pretty sure they thought we were suspect. And all 4 times, I got stopped for different things.
Oh.
Yeah.
You must have had a look.
I don't know. I have no idea. I put all my stuff through with everyone else, and then I seen the conveyor push my first bag over onto a different conveyor, and then it pushed my second bag over, boop, onto a conveyor. Oh, bin, not bag. I had a backpack. All I had was a backpack and a jacket that I had on.
Yeah.
But I had to put them in different bins.
Mm-hmm.
It shoved both my bins over. I'm like, what is this? Salt Lake.
Yeah.
So they're like, sir, is that your stuff? I go, yeah, what's up, man? And he's like, can you step over here? I'm like, all right, what's up? He's like, can you confirm this is your bag? I go, yeah, that's my bag. He's like, is this your other bin? I go, yes, that's my other bin. He's like, this bin's good. I'm like, all right, can I put the other bin had my shoes, jacket, belt, stuff I could start doing.
Right.
He's like, yep, go ahead. So I start putting all my crap on. He's going through my bag and he's pulling stuff out. And he sits up and he looks at me and he's like, it says there's an aerosol can in here. I go, oh, right in the top, like in the very top little zipper of my bag. When I'd already had my stuff packed, my kid gave me a small can of Axe that he had already used. And he's like, here, Dad, he's like, you can take this with you. I'm like, oh, all right, cool. So I just jammed it in my bag all of a sudden. Well, then the guy's like, as soon as after he pulled all my crap out of my backpack, which I had all strategically placed.
Right.
He pulls it all out, and he's like, he sees that the aerosol can, he unzips it, he looks in there, he's like, oh, it's already used? I go, yeah. And he's like, oh, you're good, here. He's like, do you mind putting all your stuff back in there? I go, no, I'll take care of that, man. Pack it all back in. So I take the aerosol can out and put it in my coat pocket, because I'm like, well, this would just be easier to find if it's an issue, because I know we have like 5 hours, but we're both gonna go back out and smoke again before this is over.
Yeah,
because we went back in, got food, went back out, smoked, went back in, got bored inside, went back out, smoked again. Then the second time through, I'm like, I have my jacket in one bin with my shoes, everything's easy, aerosol can in the pocket. I see my stuff come through, and all of a sudden, boop, bin 1 gets pushed over, boop, bin 2. I'm like, all right, I got this. And a different dude, he's like, sir, is this your bag? I go, yes, it is. He's like, could you step over here? I go, absolutely. And he just doesn't even like acknowledge the first bin with all my stuff. I'm like, I can't even put my shit on yet, because he hasn't been like, here, put your stuff on.
Yeah.
And so he starts going through the second bag. I had a can of tobacco in there, right? He pulls out the can of tobacco. He takes a little white wet nap and he wipes it all over the can of tobacco, and this all over the whole outside of it. Didn't even bother opening it.
Yeah.
Wipes it all down. And I go, sir, are you looking for an aerosol can? And he's like, no, why would you ask that? And I go, well, I just came back through a little bit ago. I go, and the other gentleman had a problem because of an aerosol can that's in my coat pocket. And he's like, no, that's fine. I'm not worried about that. And then he takes his little wet nap and he feeds it into this machine, and then it comes up on the screen. What did it say? No drug residue, negative. And he's like, all right, you're good. He didn't even care about the aerosol can. He was worried about the tobacco can that time. I'm like, what is going on here at this airport?
That's funny. That's
every time my buddy was just getting a kick out of it, because every time I got pulled aside.
Yeah.
And then even I did everything I could to not have the aerosol can be an issue, and that wasn't even an issue.
Yeah. Then he's
he
like,
didn't
why'd
even
you ask
acknowledge
about that?
Yeah. Which makes me think the first guy wasn't worried about the aerosol can. I think he was just trying to get a set of eyes on the tobacco.
Yeah.
Because he didn't even. Once he was like, aerosol can, I go, it's in the top zipper. He looked at it. And when you look in there, you can't tell the aerosol can was used at all.
Right.
There's no way you could tell by looking at it.
Yeah.
And I don't even know. It makes no sense.
That's silly. Yeah.
But it was fun interactions with people. Not really good people watching at the airport.
Oh,
good
100%.
people watching.
Yeah.
You see people pull up that are a mess. You see people waiting for people to get off. You see people look like they're living at the airport.
Yeah.
You know, one lady on the plane, she was trying to just give everybody she could. She has a lot of Delta points, so they get complimentary drink vouchers, and you have to use them up. And she wasn't going to fly again before the end of January after that, so she was just trying to give everybody drink vouchers.
Oh
so
my
she was like,
God.
She was trying to hand her phone around to people, but you had to keep swiping. And some people weren't understanding that when you got the phone, if you swipe, they'll scan it. Boop, free drink. Hand it to the next person. Oh, I'll take a drink. Oh, here you go. Just swipe it over. And then so people weren't swiping and they were booping, and they're like, nope, that one's already been used. And they were swiping the wrong way. Boop, that one was used. And this lady was just like, the flight attendant lady was getting real impatient with the lady whose phone it was.
Yeah.
And that lady was like in her 70s.
Oh.
So, and people were just like trying to help other people with the drink vouchers. And it's like, what's going on here? They get to me, I was just like, a black coffee, bag of almonds. Get on with this. And that was the lady sitting next to me.
Oh, shoot.
Oh, yeah, she was right next to me, because then my buddy was on my other side, and him and her talked the whole flight.
Yeah.
And it sucked because I felt like obligated, like I had to partake because they're talking across me. But a lot of times I just would fade back and then just zero in on the movie screen that's right here on the seat in front of me, because I watched some really good movies.
Yeah.
On the plane. Movies I normally would never watch.
Right.
Or if I've seen them a lot. So, because I was also trying to fall asleep the whole time.
Yeah.
But no, good people watching. Good people.
God. Yeah, speaking of people watching, we went to New Beginnings, which is the gay bar here in Johnson City.
Oh.
Yeah, that's fun, people watching. It's just a funny mix. And I'm not joking. Have you ever been to somewhere and somebody looks exactly like somebody you know? Like, you cannot get it out of your mind that this person is not that person.
Yep.
Last night, and we're there, like, we go with our friends. There's a drag show, right? We got there at 9:30. I thought the show started at 10. It starts at 11.
Oh.
So...
A lot of time to mingle.
A lot of time to sit there. And they had lawn chairs on the inside, which were freezing. Totally freezing. And then, so the drag show starts. It's a good time. But before, when it was just us, there was a lady across from us. No joke. Looked just like our Aunt Kay. And I could not take it serious. You know what I mean? Like, this lady's out there giving the drag queens money. She's dancing around. She's like helping the drag queens to come down the steps off the runway.
And it's funny too, because if you're sitting there and you know Kay and her personality, and then you're sitting there seeing this lady, and you're like, man, that could be Kay. But then you see him just like,
I know,
you know, and it's like,
and then you feel like
because
she's with another guy, I feel like she's like cheating in my mind, you know, because I'm like, who's this guy? Who's she with? This is not even our aunt. Okay, there's not one iota chance that this is even her. And it was making me laugh so hard. And then Josh came in, he's like, oh man, your Aunt Kay's over there. I said, I know. It was so funny. But yeah, amazing people watching. People dressed up, people dressed down, people dressed in other, you know, situations. I mean, people that can't dance are out on the dance floor, that are just flailing around, you know. It was a good time. It was fun. But it was late. It was a late night. Yeah. And then, so right before we hopped on here, the neighbor called, and I know that either something's wrong, because normally we text, and she called, and I'm like, oh no. So as soon as I answer, she's like, hey, are you guys home? And I said, yeah. She's like, your dogs are out running on the street. And I was like, oh no. Well, Linus broke the fence. Like, he jumped up when Mr. Bill came over there, and then one of the boards broke because it's just old. And then he's like, oh, we can get out. So he ran out, and then Cora jumped out the fence and then ran over to Mr. Bill. He was putting his truck in his backyard. And then she ran off. She, like, beelined it out. And so when Miss Elaine called, so I go running out in my socks, you know, out in the yard. And she's down at the neighbors, barking at them, moving in. There's new neighbors moving in. She's just in the middle of the road, like,
yeah, way to welcome them. They're like,
I know.
You know, they're like, moving in too. Like, not gonna be here and dealing with this every time I come to the mailbox.
Fruitcake, yeah. But I'm excited. Thank goodness she came back.
Oh yeah.
And then, I mean, that's just so scary because we live on the other side where the main road is, you know, so if they'd run out there, that would be terrible. But I got a double leash to try them on. So, you know, where it's got one handle and then it splits into two. So I'm hoping that this works good for them. And then it's got like a little waist holder because I thought, you know, well, I listen to Dateline, but like if I ever get attacked or something, like I don't have a hand free right now. I'm like juggling two leashes with them, you know?
Yeah, that's what I do. I take both my dogs, but they're so much fun to walk. They have so much fun walking. They don't pull, they just walk.
They're just like do.
Yep, and they have their own leashes, and they stick right usually together.
Yeah.
And one leash is adjustable and one isn't, so you just adjust the other one to like accommodate which dog is. But they generally like aren't like left and right and crisscrossing and stuff. They're just walking. They're just like, oh, this is so good out here.
Yeah. Yeah. The other day I took Cora and Linus down the street and the cows were out, and Cora has not seen the cows yet.
Oh,
and so when you know when they just dead stop and they're like frozen and they're like, and you know they're about to lose it. And I was thinking, I don't know if the cow's gonna walk this way because they were only about 5 feet from the big fence that we're at. And she saw that cow, and the cow looked over at her and was like breathing real hard out its nose, like so then she started barking at it, and I'm like, oh, here we go. Yeah, but you're tiny. Like that cow would stomp you. Quit that. Yeah. Hey, random question for this week. Did you or any of the people that you worked with have headaches this week?
Actually, now that you're asking that, one guy I'm working with, yep.
Okay, only asking because this week I had 3 people that I worked with tell me they had headaches. I had a headache on Wednesday. One girl called in to work with a headache on Tuesday. Couldn't think right. I got orders mixed up, which I never do in my life. And so when things like that happen, I know we've talked about the Schumann resonance before, about the earth energy. So I went and looked at the earth energy page, and come to find out all week it's been off the chart. So let's say normally if it's like this all the way across, it's been like this. Like earth energy is just like registering. Like if you think about it like a lie detector, you know how it like beep up and down.
Up and down.
Yeah, like the little up and down is, let's say, normally like an inch wide. Just like a steady, like a heartbeat, right? Yeah. And then all of a sudden now it's like a foot wide, where it's like registering like off the chart, literally.
Really?
That's how it's been all week.
What does that mean?
It just means that, so whatever's happening in the earth, like, because it all gives off energy, that the energy it's giving off is just that much more intense. And so it affects people differently. Gotcha. And headache and flu-like symptoms were the main thing everybody was talking about on the page. And I was like, yes. So that's why I was asking. And then, just checking in with the listeners too, because, So I don't know if you can go tell that guy, hey, look, I know I can explain your headache last week. It's earth energy. So
yeah, this guy would totally buy that too. He totally would be like, no doubt. Thank you, Jeff. He's like, here, I thought Mercury was in retrograde or something. And I'll be like, no, sir. No, sir.
He's like, oh, yeah, I appreciate your astrological information. You're the best.
Yep. I'll be like, here, what you should do is take some essential oil. And he'll be like, you know what you should, you are an essential tool.
Oh, man. Well, hey, you've been watching Doom Patrol?
I was going to say, I've been watching Doom Patrol.
Yeah.
And I started another show I don't know if you've ever watched it. We've never mentioned it. It's called Louder Milk.
Oh, no, but I saw it advertised. I think Josh has been watching it. I think GW showed him it last weekend.
Okay. I've been watching that also. Depending on what kind of mood I'm in, there's 2 totally different shows. Yeah. Usually if it's later at night, Doom Patrol. If it's something I'm just kicking on, like, to watch or whatever, because it's still like I'm just killing time before bed, then like Louder Milk. But Louder Milk's pretty good. And a few episodes in, Brian Regan shows up.
I saw
pretty much like a regular.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool.
That's super cool.
Yeah, and he also has like that about him too. A
little like, Brian Regan vibe about him. Like he's just himself in this show.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good. But I've been watching that Doom Patrol.
Yeah.
That's really it. I haven't had much time to really even watch stuff. Mainly, honestly, working and sleeping and working.
Yeah.
And sleeping.
I've had 2 hikes this weekend. Took a hike. A hike. Nice. Yeah. Nice. So yesterday I had a group hike that was supposed to be 4 of us that turned into 1 of us, me, because one girl had a headache. One girl only got an hour of sleep, and then another lady's just like, I won't be there. I say, okay. So that hike was great. It was very peaceful. Like when it snows and then it makes everything quiet. There wasn't snow, but I was the only one out there. And then when I stopped walking, because I was walking it's kind of like dirt gravel. And when I stopped walking, it was just like totally silent. You don't hear anything. That's when I sent you that video and was like, man, this is so great. Oh. It was.
Oh yeah, you sent the video, and because I don't have such the best quality phone, it was all grainy. It looked like I didn't know if that was a Bigfoot sighting. I was trying to tell what was going on. I couldn't hear any audio. You didn't seem panicky.
Right.
Like something was happening, and I couldn't tell. It looked like the tree was moving. Like, I didn't know if you seen a tree walker or a Sasquatch.
No, I did pan back on the water, because have you ever had this happen where you're like looking at something, but all of a sudden it almost is like, where it's almost like you're in a trance and you can't process like what's happening, the perception of it.
Yep.
Meaning like so when I panned, the water was just kind of flowing, like it was totally still, and picture perfect, total reflection, and then over here the water was just kind of a little bit ripply, but then in my mind it looked fuzzy down in the water, and then all of a sudden I'm like, I don't know what's happening, it was just fuzzy, because of my perception.
Right. What if all of a sudden 2 eyes would have opened up?
I would have screamed and peed my hiking pants. Probably. That would violate the leave no trace. I would have just
Yeah, you would not have probably would not have been packing out what you packed in.
And even when I go by myself now, I take a huge backpack. I take a backpack. I got like a 200-piece emergency kit. I got extra water, Gatorade. I got knives, horns, lights. And I'm just going on
a day hike.
I'm just going on a long walk. It's a flat path, long walk with other people. But I need to make sure.
Just the other day, not far from here, they found a lady in her car, and she had been there for like 10 days. She drove off the road, off the side of the mountain, and her family, I guess, has been looking for her.
Oh,
and then like 10 days later, just random people seen a car and walked down there, got down the rocks to it, and found that they believe she had died on impact. They're not sure, but she didn't move far from where the car stopped at.
Oh goodness.
But also the other day we were sitting at a restaurant not far from here. First time in my life experiencing an earthquake.
Oh shoot.
Yep, and it's one they had dubbed the Widowmaker. Not really. That actually we just call it that in our truck on the way to work. When we're talking about it going to work or
because it was serious,
we refer to it as the Widowmaker.
Oh, okay. Whoa, was that weird?
It was weird. I've never experienced an earthquake, but it was different than what I had thought. I guess it was a 4.6. I guess on the scale. We found that out. We found it out before we even left the restaurant because the waitress had come over, and it just had happened. Like boom, just had happened, and we're all looking at each other at the table. We're in one of those big half round tables in the corner, like 6 of us. And all of a sudden, we're all looking at each other, and I was trying to. You could hear all the windows and everything in the place rattling, but it almost feels like, you ever have like where you feel like your eyeballs are like, just your eyeballs are shaking?
Yeah.
And you're trying to decide, like, is that my eyeballs or is that something else? Like,
everything else.
Everything else. It was kind of like that, except I knew it was not my eyeballs.
Oh.
And we were all made eye contact with each other, and we're looking around. It was long. It probably went on for about 5 seconds, 7 seconds.
Oh, shoot.
Wasn't crazy long.
Yeah.
And what was baffling is we're sitting there and we're like, holy shit. Like, was that an earthquake? It felt like, and the guy next to me who was sitting next to me, a buddy of mine, was like, it felt like somebody just drove into the building. I go, that was my first thought. I go, is that what it was? Because as soon as it ended, I thought that. Like, it felt like somebody drove into the building.
Oh, shit.
And I look over at Brandon, and he's like, it felt like somebody just drove into the building. So now I'm thinking, did somebody drive into the building?
All right.
And we're looking around and stuff. And, like, everybody in the restaurant, totally normal. Right across from us was a family. They had 2 kids that were probably 10 and 12, a boy and a girl. Just eating food, didn't even acknowledge anything had just happened. And we still were all looking at each other like, what just happened? Because not one person in this restaurant is even acknowledging it.
Right.
And we're sitting there, and all of a sudden the electrician was like, well, that ceiling fan is still moving. And we all look up at the fan, and the fan was still jostling.
Yeah.
And our server lady come over, and she's like, she looks at us and looks up at the fan moving, and just as somebody was going to say something about it, she's like, oh yeah, that was an earthquake. She's like, and that was a pretty big one. She's like, that was a 4.6. My cousin over in the next town just messaged me about it. And we're like, no doubt. And she's like, oh yeah. She's like, that was a lot bigger than one we had last week. We're like, what day last week? Because we were here. Like, this restaurant's right by our hotel, our job site, everything. And she was like, "Oh, last Tuesday we had a 2.4 or something." And we were like, "We didn't even notice that one."
Oh.
Like, wow.
So now you're like, I need to keep track of how many times my eyeballs get jostled.
Yeah, but there's a lot of times at work too that I'm like, look, I don't know if it's just me, but ever since the Widowmaker, and then we'll say something.
Yeah.
Like, look, I don't know if it's you guys, but I'm starving. Like, my stomach hasn't been the same since the Widowmaker. And in reality, what I'm saying is, are you guys ready for lunch? And then somebody be like, look, yeah, since that Widowmaker, I know what you mean. I've had this feeling in my stomach, kind of like bacon cheeseburger.
Yeah.
Like stuff like that.
You gotta bring it up because now you've trauma bonded over this earthquake.
Over the Widowmaker.
Stupid.
Yeah, but that was different. I've never experienced an earthquake, so that was kind of cool.
That would be crazy, and then just to have everybody just it's just normal, and you're thinking,
another guy at the table pointed that out. He's like, you know how that's trippy to us? He's like, look at that family. We all looked over, and the first thing I thought was like, they're not even acknowledging it. This is all within like 1 minute after, maybe two. And they're not even acknowledging that anything even happened. Like, they're not even discussing that as a family or the kids. Like, if that was my kids, you would be able to definitely tell tourists.
Yeah.
If that was my kids, would have been like, what the hell? Like, they'd have still been talking about it. Probably one would have got underneath the table. One would have probably got up, tried to support himself against the pole or something stupid. After the earthquake already ended.
Yeah.
Like, you would have known something just happened, but looking around, no, people were normal. Like, oh yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was exciting. But I guess we have a bad storm coming. It's supposed to start tonight, and I've been getting storm alerts on my phone about it for like the past 2 days already.
Oh, shoot.
Before it starts. They're saying it was supposed to like kind of start this morning at 11, which it hasn't, and now it's been hours and hours later, but like the thick of it, or like it's supposed to start at midnight tonight, go until Wednesday. It's supposed to rain nonstop. It's supposed to rain 60% of what they were predicting the rain for the year.
Oh my god.
60% of that was supposed to happen between now and Wednesday.
So is there a chance of flooding or?
Oh yeah, a lot of flooding. That's what a lot of the alerts are about.
Yeah.
I heard on the radio this morning on the way to work that there's like 7 million sandbags that are available for the public, and they gave a few locations where like if you would need them to go pick up to deter water.
Yeah.
But I will say this, that all the we noticed like when we first got here, all the road drains around here are huge. Like they're as tall as the curb and for like 6 feet. Like these people expect some, not just because of this storm, but they must deal. We thought that off the get. We're like, they must get some serious rain and runoff from these mountains.
Yeah.
Because like these are severe. These are like from like Pennywise. These are like you could look when we're sitting at the light and you look over, you have to expect to see a clown standing. Like they're about this big.
Yeah.
Like easily a newborn kid could easily just roll itself down in there. I'm pretty sure a toddler could fit down in there. I feel like I could fit down in there.
Oh my god.
But I don't want to try it because I have a feeling I get my head stuck.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be that guy.
Right.
They're like, clearly this guy's on vacation. No local is putting his head down the drain.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, the problem is he put his body first and now everything's supported by his head. We kind of need to get him out of there.
Oops. Yeah.
Yeah. But,
and P.S. the rain's coming, so now he's going to get slapped in the face with it.
Yeah, he's probably they're like, well, he's a lost cause, probably going to drown out of his own stupidity.
Yeah. Chalk that one up.
Yeah, and what's funny is we have this big drainage system that runs right past everything down here.
Yeah.
And it's like a big ass drainage thing. And it rained for a couple days last week, and that thing filled up pretty good. It filled up pretty good to the point that I was like, hey, do you guys want to try to buy some inner tubes and see if we could float down it?
Whoa.
And they were like, we don't even know where that goes. Okay, so we mentioned that to an engineer at this job site we're working on. Clearly, this guy doesn't have anything to do.
Okay.
Because he came back to us the next day, and he had Google Earth images printed out. And he's like, look, if you guys start up anywhere on the mountain, he's like, you will come down. You will pass through 2 cities. He's like, uninterrupted of just straight shot drainage. He's like, and if you can stop before you pass the job site, and I go, all we need is like a 10-foot pole with a hook, something to hook.
Yeah, right.
Something. I go, and if we give ourselves because it runs right behind our job site. I go, if we give ourselves some warning signs, like some bright boards hanging off that we can see, we know when it's coming.
Yeah.
And he even said that if we stop at the job site, we'll be fine. It's if we pass the job site, it runs through 3 cleaning plants before it goes out to the ocean.
Oh.
So he's like, you're going to want to definitely stop before those. He's like, because you don't know what kind of riptides, undercurrents they're going to have.
Whoa.
But if you stop at the job site, like where we're at talking about it at that time, he's like, you're fine.
Yeah.
And that's probably good. That's a pretty good distance. I bet that's an hour. Even if you're just floating in a tube, and that thing, it's rifling. I'm not just like, oh, it's just, no, it's rifling.
Yeah.
Like not on a regular day, but when it rained, it was.
Whoa.
And that's where all the stuff runs to. He said there's nothing unsanitary about it, except that it kind of is most of the runoff from the drains.
Yeah.
It's like laying in the road in a rainstorm. I mean, like, do you want to? No, but if you trip and fall, you don't think about it.
Yeah. Right. So you bought 4 inner tubes?
3.
3?
We got 3, and I got a pump that runs off. We can plug into the truck.
Oh my God!
Right.
Is the engineer coming with you, or is he gonna?
No, this guy is no.
No, gotcha. But he was very excited to.
He definitely had nothing but time to see if this is feasible.
Yeah.
I think I got him psyched about it, just talking about it. That he was like, "Is this possible?" And I go, "Well, there's only one way to find out." Clearly, there was a second way to find out. You could do what this guy did: Google Earth it, follow the entire system, and see where it goes. But it's an open, straight shot.
Hopefully, Google Earth didn't lie.
I know. But we found a 3-pack of sleds. Technically, they're inner tube, but if you blow them up, it's sleds, which means they have the middle in them.
Right.
That's what makes them a sled.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
the middle is there. It's not like a donut. It's like a donut with the middle in it.
Yes. So then at least you don't have to touch the runoff.
No, there's no way your whole body can fit on these things. But the guys I'm working with are like, because we haven't bought them yet. We found a 3-pack.
Yeah.
And we already have a pump that came with our rental truck in case you get like a low tire or some shit.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm not sure. And so I've put it all together. I'm like, look, this is $30. We each kick in $10, or I'll just buy them for $30 if you guys agree to go down shoot the rapids.
Yeah.
And they're like, I don't know if I want to shoot those rapids. So that's where we stand.
So
and now since then, we got a big storm coming, and I can't get a straight answer out of anyone.
They're like, hey man, we're gonna need to wait until after that storm. Till things
we need
calm
that
back
storm.
down.
That storm's the only thing that's gonna come shooting us through that village.
Yeah.
There's like 3 towns that pass us through.
Shoot.
Off of the mountain before we hit our job site.
Yeah, but what if you have water in your face? You miss the bright board. Like
I even told them, if we come all the way down, if we have big 10-foot, like almost like what you would pull somebody out of the public pool with.
Yeah.
A big hook.
Yeah.
I go, we'll hook something. We can use it as a paddle. We might be able to touch the bottom. We can definitely touch the sides. It's really, it's maybe only 12 feet wide.
Okay.
But it's the problem, like right now, is like it's probably 12 feet down.
Yeah. Oh.
Of down the cement wall right now.
Right.
But when it regularly just had a regular rain, that came up about halfway.
Shoot.
So I'm thinking with this big ass rain,
ooh,
we might even have to just battle to stay in the ravine.
Right. Can you imagine like coming around a corner and just
hitting chain link fence and then falling back off into the stupid ravine and back out into through a parking lot.
People call in like, I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure I just heard somebody yelling in the drain.
Somebody yelled on a tube. And shoot the rapids?
Shoot the rapids.
Thread the needle.
Yes.
Not sure.
Oh,
so
man.
We'll see what happens.
Well, if you do that, make sure you wear some bright colors so
of course
somebody can see. Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
Safety first. All right, Jeffy. Well, on that note, we'll check back in with your adventures to see how that goes.
Excellent.
And, yeah, stay safe in the storm. And, well, I mean, I guess you could just keep bringing up the Widowmaker. I mean, that's always an option.
Yeah. You know what? I'm sure I've even heard that, like, these are the kind of ideas that Jeff's had since the Widowmaker.
Yeah. So it probably it rattled your creativity. Let's blame
rattled
it on that.
or it got it rolling.
Yeah.
And I'm in the phase of like, since the Widowmaker, Jen, I've really been living my life like you only have one life to live.
Yeah.
It needs to be worth it. Ever since
Yeah.
the Widowmaker, that's the realization I've come to.
It just shook.
That your time could go at any time. So
Yeah.
you might as well shoot those rapids. And then the guys in the truck are like, but those rapids are going to be the end of your time when you shoot those rapids. And I go, yeah, but that's the way I want to go. Rock and roll. Rock and roll.
That'd be ironic because you haven't had a glass of water since 2021. And,
Right.
And then...
Jen, I've given up water since the Widowmaker. In fact, I've been doubling up on my coffee. I've been putting 1 cup of coffee instead of just a half a cup to every pot. That's how I'm living my life now, Jen, since the Widowmaker.
Okay. Well, hey, we'll keep on trucking and shoot those rapids. All right, see you next time, Jeffy.
Amsterdam.